What's up, everybody? This is Steven with Steve's Snaketuary. Here's what I want to talk about today. I get a lot of calls about snakes in their yards or businesses and things like that, and I ask people to describe the snake. Most of the time they say it's big and it's black. That's what most of the time people say with the description that they give to me whenever I talk to them on the phone before I get there. So what I want to do is I want to go over some of the local snakes that we have here in the Shreveport-Bossier area, and a lot of these snakes are all over Louisiana and most of Texas too, and some of Arkansas. But I want to go over some of the most of the common black snakes that can get real big. Okay, so here's some of the first ones I want to show off. Let me see if I can get one of these out of without both of them going everywhere. These are rat snakes, and a lot of times these guys can get back in there, buddy. Okay, I'm gonna have to put the lid back on here. Get back in here. Come on. These guys can get quite large. When they're born, they're about the size of a pencil, I guess. These guys can get quite large. I have very large ones too. And the larger ones I have, you can see some patterns on the back. They have like little squares or rectangles on the back. Sometimes, woo, that was a cool one. A lot of times, these are guys that are non-venomous, so I don't mind that he just bit me on the arm. These guys are non-venomous. Sometimes like you can see some yellow and a little bit of white in between the scales on this one, especially when he breeds. Sometimes they have some red in between them. And like I said, these guys can get quite large. They can get 6 feet. And these guys can actually climb up the sides of walls because they'll get up and eat little birds and things like that. And they'll get up in people's attics if people have rats and mice in their attics. But like I said, when they're born, they're about the size of a pencil, but they can get 6 feet. And these guys can be dark browns. They can have, like I said, the yellows and the reds in there. And then we also have black rat snakes, which are almost all black. And but again, they're all similar. They're very similar. I don't want to get into the Latin names. They change taxonomy all the time on the Latin names. This used to be a Texas rat snake. I think they changed it to a Western rat snake. It used to be like a Lafe, Obsoleta, Linderheimi, or something like that. And I think they changed it to Pantherophis, something or other. But they change the taxonomy all the time. That's why I really don't get into the Latin names too much. But anyway, like I said, this one's one of the most common ones we find here in this area are these rat snakes. And people get these confused with water moccasins because they'll hold their mouths open just like water moccasins. And they don't have rattles, but they will rattle their tails against leaves and dead grass and against something to make it sound like a rattlesnake. So a lot of times people get these confused with venomous snakes. I had brought two to kind of show off a little bit. I'll probably do another video later because you can kind of see the differences between these if you put them up side by side. See, one of them's a little bit darker. One of them has more gray in it than the other one. I'm not sure how the lighting is outside. I'm kind of in the shade right now, so I'm not sure that the lighting is going to show up, but they are actually different. And like I said, they can be grays, browns, blacks. They can vary in color quite a bit. But those are some of the most common ones that we have here. Let me show another really most common snake, really common snake that we have, that a lot of people really get confused with water moccasins, is this one right here. And we have 3 different kinds of these here, but I only brought one out. This is a yellow belly water snake. And this one is actually more brown, has like an army greenish tint to it. And these guys, this one, his tail was actually cut off. This was the one, I don't know if you guys saw my other social media post. The lady had caught the tail of this one caught in a door. And so the tail got cut off, but it's past the cloaca, so the snake's gonna be just fine. But these guys, like I said, these guys can be like a brownish, greenish kind color most of the time. When they're born, you can see a lot more patterns on them. But sometimes, you know, in the dark or at night or even around water, they look black. And I've had a lot of people confuse these with water moccasins. And these guys can get several feet long. And again, you know, people think, hey, it's a large black snake. But really, if you really take the time to look, it's like a dark army green or a brownish color. And sometimes, like I said, when they're born, you can see a lot more patterns on them. But that's a yellow belly water snake. He's going into shed. That's why his eyes are like that. That's why he can't see very well. That's why he bit me. See, look, he bit my finger there. These guys are non-venomous, but he can't see very well. He's going into shed, so he doesn't know what's going on. He's just trying to get away. But again, this one's, a lot of times people think that they have a large black snake in their yard, and it's just one of those guys, non-venomous. Now I'm going to show 2 that I've hardly ever had. I've only seen a couple of these in my lifetime. I wish I had brought some Germex out here. This one is actually a buttermilk racer. This one's a buttermilk racer because see, he's got the lighter spots. Some of his scales are a lighter color. We have these. We also have the black racers, which sometimes people call blue racers. Now the black racers are almost like all of these snakes are wanting to bite me today. My goodness. The black racers are like almost a jet black, and then they fade to a real light blue, a real light bright blue on their side, and then it fades to a white on their stomach. And a lot of times these guys can get several feet long also. And sometimes when these guys are going through the grass, when they're slithering through the grass, they'll hold their heads up like this. It's called periscoping. And they'll periscope through the yard like this. He's watching me, and they have very huge eyes. He's watching me. He doesn't know what's going on. And but this is, like I said, a buttermilk racer. We also have black racers here, and some people call them blue racers. And so sometimes people call about these. I've had several people call about these, well, the black racers before. I've had very, very, very few buttermilk racers. And if you guys noticed on my some of my other social media, I had posted pictures of another buttermilk racer that I had actually had 22 eggs. So I thought that was really cool. Oh, here's another really common snake that a lot of people find. And a lot of people say these are good snakes. The reason why they say, I brought a smaller one. I didn't bring one of my bigger ones out. This is a speckled king snake. And a lot of people call these, now this blood on him, that's from my finger. Okay, that was on my finger after that other snake that bit me. A lot of people say these are good snakes. The reason they say that is because they eat other snakes also. Now I say every snake is a good snake, even the venomous snakes they're using now to cure diseases. They're breaking the proteins down in the snake venom for medicine. And but a lot of people think these are really good snakes because they eat other snakes. But these guys can get quite large too. But you see, he's black and he's got the yellow. Some people think it's kind of a greenish color. They may say it's got green speckles all over it, but it's really yellow. Black with yellow speckles all over it. So that's a speckled king snake. And a lot of people know about these, but for those that don't, you can keep these around their house because they'll eat other snakes. And so this is a speckled king snake. And this one, they can get quite large. Some people say they have a big black snake or a big dark snake in their yard, and that's why. Here's another very special snake. I've only seen like 3 of these in my lifetime. He was kind of fidgety when I tried to put him in this cage, so we'll see how he acts. This is a coach whip. Now, you see how he's real dark at the top, but look, his tail gets real light. Real light. It's a very large snake. These guys can get over 6 feet. And these guys, again, they're in this same family or whatever as the racers, so they do this periscoping also when they go through the grass. They got the big bug eyes. They look kind of angry, but they're not angry. Now, the reason people call them coach whips is not because they whip you with their tails. It's because, number one, they're real dark, and then they go to a real light color. And if you look at their tail is braided just like a whip. That's why they call them coach whips. But again, you see how large this thing is, and you see it's very dark at his head. He did just whip me in the face, didn't he? But that's not why they're called coach whips. But anyway, they're very dark at the front, and so that could be it could look black, especially if they're going pretty fast. These and the racers are very, very, very fast. And like I said, they like to do the periscoping when they slither. So that's a coach whip. Now I'm going to show off another snake that most people think that they have in their yard, but it's not. Okay? This is, let me get my gloves on for this. This is actually a water moccasin. Now, the reason water moccasins and cottonmouths are the same kinds of snakes. The reason they call water moccasins cottonmouths is because when they open their mouths, it's as white as cotton. And these are very dark snakes. Now, when they're younger, they're a lot lighter, and some people get the younger ones confused with copperheads because of how light they are and their patterns. And these guys can get almost a very, very dark black color. This one in the sunlight has got is really a dark brown color. They do have the quote-unquote diamond or triangle shape head, but you can't go by that. The regular non-venomous water snakes and the rat snakes will both flatten their heads out into that diamond or triangle shape. So you can't go by the head shape, but the reason they have that head shape here is because they do have their venom glands in their jaws. But these guys, yes, they can get quite large. They can get several feet long, and they can look black. They're very, very dark. This one actually in the sunlight is it's a dark brown color. I don't want anybody getting close to look at the eyes. They talk about the eyes with the cat slit pupils. Yes, they do have the cat slit pupil, but just like people's eyes, their eyes will dilate in low light situations so they can actually look round, like they have round pupils. Come on, buddy. Come on. Get back in there. Now look, this guy's not aggressive at all. Some people think they have water moccasins chase them. A water moccasin will not chase you. No snake will chase you. Even the racers will not chase you. Okay, a snake's only defense is to either bite or get away. And they may look at your legs. They may see your hands or your body going for them or getting close to them. No, get back in there, buddy. And then they think your legs are actually something to get behind. So they actually get behind your leg, or they try to get behind your legs. And so they're not really chasing you. What they're doing is they're just trying to hide. The only other snake that I don't have that I want to talk about we have are mud snakes here. Now these mud snakes are like a jet black on top, and then their underside, their bellies are like a black and red checker. And those are non-venomous. They stay around, you know, they're called mud snakes for a reason because they stay in the mud. They eat like the little salamanders, or like sometimes crawfish and maybe sometimes little fish. And but these guys are the only other ones that I don't have here with me that we have that are like a really dark black color. And so, see, we have several snakes that are actually black and can get quite large. So, you know, I'm not trying to put anybody down or anything, but when you say you have a large black snake in your yard, it really doesn't narrow the playing field very much, because we have several snakes that can get quite large and can be black or very dark. And so I just wanted to do this video as an information so you can so everybody can kind of see these snakes side by side and kind of see and kind of compare some of the dark snakes that we have, some of the black snakes that we have. And so you guys can get an idea that we have a varied amount of snakes that can be large and black. So, but if you guys ever have any questions, you guys can call me. You can email me at info@snaketuary.com. Check out our website at snaketuary.com, and make sure to follow us on all social media. Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, we're everywhere. We put out pictures and videos and stuff all the time to help everybody and to help you guys. But if you ever have any further questions, always feel free to call us or email us. We look forward to hearing from you guys. See you later.